G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm very excited for this video. It's a video that I've been teasing for a little while, but as we're 7 weeks down of NFL, it's time to speak about my ladder predictions. What's going to happen for the rest of the season? Who's going to be there in the wild card? What's going to happen in the playoffs? Where's your team going to finish in the seeding? Let's get into my NFL 2024 ladder after 7 rounds. Let's start it off over in the AFC and let's start from the bottom. So in 16th seed, I do have the New England Patriots. I've got them with a record of 4 wins to 13 losses. I just don't think they're that great this year. I like what I saw from the rookie in that first game in Drake May, but I don't think they have enough to compete with a lot of other teams in the AFC. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be all that good as the season progresses. Up in the 15 seed, this surprises me because their defense for a couple of years has been better, even good per se, but this year it's just shocking. So in 15th seed with a record of 4 wins and 13 losses as well. I also have the Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns look awful right now. I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I think the Browns have absolutely no chance of making the playoffs this season at least. And yeah, really disappointing season for Cleveland Browns fans, but I think they will be in that 15 seed come 8 weeks time. Now, this is where it gets a bit tough with these sort of teams, but in the 14 seed, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. It's going to be interesting to see if all of the players sort of stay there or if there are going to be more trade options going the way of the Raiders. They haven't been great to start the year, and I don't think they're going to get much better. I've got them with a record of 4-12 for the season overall. But yeah, I just think for the Raiders, there's a lot of work to be done. And with Devontae Adams now heading to the Jets, that's a big loss for them as well. So I don't expect too much from the Vegas Raiders. But I feel like they're a team that could finish around that 12 seed. But I've got them there in 14. In the 13 seed is probably a surprising one, but again, injury has struck this team this year. It's the Miami Dolphins once again. They have been very competitive in the AFC, and they've seemed to be a top 6 seed in recent years. But this year, I think they really fall off, and I do have them with a record of 5 wins, 12 losses to finish out the season. I just don't expect too much from the Miami Dolphins, and I think they're going to continue to fall down the ladder. In 12th position in the AFC, I've got the Tennessee Titans. Now, they have a record of 5 wins and 11 losses on my ladder predictor there. I don't actually have a draw. I know games can be a draw, but I don't have any draws. I forgot to think about that. But Tennessee, I think they'll be okay. I don't think they'll be great. I don't think they'll be in the playoffs, but I don't think they'll be a bottom 2 seed. I still think they're able to get some nice wins, some upset wins. They're a team that can push defensively. So yeah, I think Tennessee will be okay, but nothing special as we do get into the back half of the season. In 11th seed is an interesting one because they do look better than they have been in previous years, and someone returning from injury is looking great, but they're still not able to grind out these wins. You know, losses to the Denver Broncos, losses to the Buffalo Bills just might cost them. I'm going the New York Jets. Welcome to the Jets. Devontae Adams, a reunion there with Aaron Rodgers. I don't expect the Jets to be in the top 5 per se, but I could see them sneaking into like a 7 seed if they were lucky enough to get it. But for mine, I think they finish in 11th position based on the ladder that I've done. A bit of a tough draw coming their way as well. So the Jets to finish 11th in the AFC. In 10th, I've got the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Anthony Richardson will come back for the Colts this week, and we'll see how they go. I've actually got them losing to the Miami Dolphins, but if they were to win this game, it would switch around my teams that I've got sort of in the seeding position, but I've got the Colts going 10 losses to 7 wins for the year. Joe Flacco has had some great games lately for them, and Anthony Richardson's going to do a great job for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor needs to come back. They need him back soon to kind of strike, and they definitely could be a danger sort of team in the AFC if they can get a late seeding, but I think for me, the Colts are going to finish in 10th. Next up, in ninth position, this one surprised me because of how poor they've started the season. I think they're going to win tomorrow's game, but the Jacksonville Jaguars turn their season around a little bit and just miss the playoffs. I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars going 8 wins to 9 losses, which is a better record. They've got a bit of a softer draw when you look at it, and I think they can get some of these wins as well, starting with the win tomorrow against the New England Patriots. I think they just missed the playoff, but I think Jacksonville survive and surprise a few people with a much better seeding than what we thought in that first 3 weeks. Next up, in 8th position, also missing out in the AFC playoffs, which is a surprising one because they have been a very, very good team to start the year, and I think they're going to continue to be good, but I think they're just going to fall a little bit short. I wouldn't be surprised if this team does make it. They have really surprised me. They're a big chance of making the playoffs, but in 8th position, in 8 wins, 8 losses, I've got the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, again, the draw does get tough. They've been building and getting some nice wins on the board. How are they going to go away from home in those crunch time sort of game? They have shown that they can grind out a game or even win by big scores. I just don't know how they're going to go in the back half of the year. I think this team could be in the playoffs, and I could be wrong here, but based on the ladder predictor, I've got them in 8. So into the playoff teams now. In the 7 seed, surprisingly, once again, a team that started the year poorly, hasn't looked great since either, but I do have the Cincinnati Bengals sneaking into the playoffs in the 7 seed. I've got the Bengals going 9 wins to 8 losses, just getting more wins than their losses, going on a bit of a late run, a very favourable draw going the way of the Bengals, and I think this team can sneak in there with Joe Burrow. So yeah, I think the Bengals in 7th seed is a massive call, but I can see it happening. The 6th seed, based on the defense that I've seen this year, their offense needs to get better, but their defense is just too good to not put them in here. I've got them with 10-7 in the 6th seed. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they do return to the playoffs here. I think they're having a nice season. Justin Fields was doing good things at the Steelers. Now Russell Wilson comes in. How are they going to go? Is it going to change the team dynamic? Are they going to turn to mud? I don't know. They lost to the Dallas Cowboys, but they've still looked good this year, and they put up some nice scores as well. So the Steelers, for mine, are going to finish in the 6th seed. In the 5th seed, with a record of 13-4, so a really good record, and there's a bit of a gap there between the 5 and the 6, these top 5 AFC teams. I've got the Chargers, new coach, good recruitment throughout the year as well. The LA Chargers, for mine, are ready to play in this year's NFL playoffs. I think they will be there. I think Herbert looks good. I think they're going to surprise a few people and actually make a bit of a run and go into the playoffs. So Chargers for mine, 13-4, and they do finish in the number 5 seed in the AFC. In the 4th seed, with a record of a 10-7, I've got the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Bills are a team that in the back half of the year, there could be some weird losses that we don't expect. It always seems to happen. They're very lucky to get that win over the New York Jets. They've been hot and cold, but more so hot, and Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception yet. So he's really killing it, and he's rushing for touchdowns. He's doing it all. His passing game has been better as well. So, yeah, I think the Bills, I thought they lost a lot in the offseason, but they've also gained a bit, and they've got a really good playing group right now from what I've seen on the field. So the Bills have sort of always been there in the AFC, especially recently. We almost expect them every year to be in the Super Bowl. Do I think they're going to be in the Super Bowl? I don't know, but they are going to get the 4th seed in the AFC. In the number 3 seed, I have the Baltimore Ravens with a record of 10-6. This is a really dangerous team right now, and I have them going 5-1 against the division. So I think they get most of their wins against their division in the north of the AFC as well. The Ravens look great. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson having a great year as well. Love what I've seen from Baltimore, and I think they're just going to get better and better. So I could see them being a 1-2 seed in the AFC, but based on this ladder predictor, I have put them in the 3rd seed with an overall record of 10-6. In the number 2 seed is a surprising one for me, and I don't know if they're going to be as good as I'm predicting them to be. But from what I've seen, they have been lethal, and this man, CJ Stroud, has been killing it once again, just like last season, I've got the Houston Texans with a massive record of 13-4, a big 2024 season, and getting that second seed in the AFC. They had a great season last year. I think they have a better season this year. Love what I've seen from them in their offense as well. So yeah, I think the Houston Texans are a massive dark horse this year, and I think they're going to finish second in the AFC. But all the teams I've mentioned are going to be behind the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get, once again, the number one seed in the AFC with a fantastic record of 14-3. Yes, I think there will be 3 losses this season. We haven't lost a game yet. We play the 49ers in a Super Bowl rematch tomorrow, a game that I think we are capable of winning, coming off the bye fresh as well. But there are a couple of games that I think we do drop. I have got us dropping 1 game in the division, 5-1 record against the division. I think if I'm to pick a game, I feel like the Denver Broncos just might trouble us this year. I thought about the Chargers, but we beat them earlier in the year. So I reckon the Denver Broncos might actually pull off an upset against the Chiefs at some point. I think we play each other twice. But the Kansas City Chiefs to finish number 1 in the AFC and get that number 1 seed with a record of 14-3. Moving on to the NFC, and in number 16, yes, you guessed it, I have the Carolina Panthers. These tickets are like $30, something like that, to go to a game right now. It's so cheap. There was games where they were giving out tickets for like $12. That's how bad this team is right now, and they just don't look like getting any better. They are putting up lots of points, but even though they're putting up those points, they're conceding a lot as well. They're not staying in the fight with teams, and I think they're going to be 0-6 against their division. They're in a really tough division as well. I've got them 3 wins for the year with 14 losses. Unfortunately, Carolina Panthers fans, I think you finish at the bottom again. In the 15 seed is a team that a couple of years ago had a really good run, and now they've gone back to being what they're sort of known as. It's the New York Giants. The loss of Saquon Barkley was massive, and they've started the year okay. They haven't been too bad, but I don't expect them to get too many wins. I've got them 0-6 in the division. I think they are capable of beating the Eagles tomorrow, but I think the Eagles are going to get them, and that's what I think the division makes it so hard as well. I've got them 4 wins, 13 losses. I don't expect much at all from the New York Giants as the season starts to go on. In the 14 seed, I have the LA Rams. Now, this is a surprising one, but injury has struck this team and lots of outs at the moment. Still a very good team on paper when you put them all together, but they're not all there right now. I've got them going 6 wins and 11 losses, a record of 2 wins, 4 losses against their division. So they are able to sneak some wins. They obviously beat the 49ers to get that 1 division win a few weeks ago. But yeah, I don't expect too much from them. As they start to get their troops back, they're going to get their wins, but I've got them going 6 wins for the season and unfortunately finishing in the bottom 3 of the NFC. Also, with a record of 6-11, I have the Arizona Cardinals in 13. It's a team that I thought could finish a little bit higher the more I thought about it, but I think there's a lot of teams above the Cardinals right now at the moment, and I think the Cardinals are still one great bye away from being a complete sort of team. I still think there are question marks over the Cardinals, although they play quite well at home. I've got them 3-3 against the division, so I think they are going to compete a little bit there, but overall I think they're going to have another tough year, finish outside the playoffs and finish in the 13 seed in the NFC. In the 12 seed is a team that I saw at the start of the year and I thought, okay, these guys look good, but I'm watching them more and more and I don't think they look the greatest in the world. I think they'll go better than how I'm predicting. And I think this team could actually be a late run into the playoff. But I'm looking at their draw and it's a little bit tough. I've got them 3-3 against the division as well, like the Cardinals. But the Seattle Seahawks, I don't know what my read is right now on the Seattle Seahawks. And I think they need to do a little bit more to impress me. But I've got Seattle right now in the 12 seed. I think they should finish higher, but that's where I've got them in the NFC at the moment. In 11, I've got the New Orleans Saints. Now, they've had injuries as well very recently. I've got them with 7 wins, 10 losses, a record of 2 wins, 4 losses against their division. They're in a tough division with teams like the Falcons, the Bucks, and well, not the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, I think the Saints have really fallen off compared to their first 2 weeks of the year. I think it was week 2, they had a massive score, and I thought they were really poor in a game where they should have tried to bounce back against Denver. They just weren't great at all. So yeah, I think the Saints are going to continue to have bit of a shocker of a year. I could see them being 13, 14, but I am going to put them here on 11 based on the fact that I think they can get some of the wins that we don't expect. In the 10 seed, outside the playoffs for the first time in a while in the NFC, I've got the Dallas Cowboys. I think America's team is not going to be part of the playoffs in 2024. I think there's a lot of problems with Dallas. I have got them 4-2 against the division. I think they are capable of winning a lot of their games. I've got them with a record of 8 wins to 9 losses, so it's not a bad record overall, in honesty, but I just think the Cowboys, lots of question marks over them, and lots of overpaid players right now within that team. They need to have a good hard look at themselves in this off-season after they miss out on the playoffs this year. In the 9 seed, you guys are going to hate me for this, but I think they're almost there. They're almost there, but they're just going to miss out, and they've had a phenomenal year, and they've had a record of 9-8, but they've just missed out. The Chicago Bears. I'm sorry, Chicago Bears. You're going to be so close to making this year's playoff, but you are just going to fall short on some results that didn't sort of go your way. But a phenomenal season from the Bears. 3-3 against a tough division with, the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings. So I've got a great record in the division there, but I think there's going to be some tough games coming towards the end of the year for you. Chicago Bears, unfortunately, I do have you just outside the playoffs. Also outside the playoffs with the same record as the Bears, but I do have them 5-1 against the division. I like what I've seen from this team. I still want to see more to truly believe in them, but I'm loving Kirk Cousins as part of the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are looking better and better in offense as well. Great overtime game against the Bucks a couple weeks ago to show, adversity overcome. I've got them in 8th. I think they are a team that can be there in the NFC playoffs, but based on this ladder, I've got them just outside with the Chicago Bears sort of battling it out. I've got the Falcons in 8th seed with a record of 9-8. In the 7th seed, going to the playoffs for the NFC, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles have not impressed me at all this year, but they have so much offense and so much experience within their team that I think they can go on a bit of a run and definitely make the playoffs. I've got them with a record of 10-6 for the season. I can see it being a little bit better. I think they're playing poor, but they're still able to get their wins. So they could be like a 12-5 team, but I have got them with 10 wins to 6 losses by the end of the season. I think the Eagles are going to look a little bit better, and they are going to be in the playoffs. In the 6th seed is a team that has impressed me, especially when they had their star out. They got a nice win as well. But now the star is back, and they're looking more and more better as I watch them. And in this tough NFC, I think they're going to be there in the playoff. I've got the Green Bay Packers in the number 6 seed. I've got them 11-6. I do have them bad record against the division. I've got 1-5 against the division. You've got the Bears who want to beat the Packers. You've got the Vikings who are undefeated right now. And you've got the Detroit Lions who are playing some really good football right now. So it's going to be tough within your division. That's why I don't have you higher than that 6 or 5 seed. If I'm judging this off my prediction, I'd probably have them 5 seed, but I've got them 6 here based on the ladder predictor. The Green Bay Packers are going to be part of the NFC playoffs. Into the 5 seed, undefeated at the start of the year, but now I've got them going 13-4. I think there are some tougher games coming the way of the Minnesota Vikings. Really, really impressed with them. Sam Darnold has been great for them as well. I like what I've seen from the Vikings. I have question marks. How long can they keep this up? You see a lot of teams go undefeated and then really fall off. I don't think they're going to fall off, but I think they're going to be 5th seed because there are some teams better than them. I do think they're going to go 3-3 against their division. When they go against their division is when the games are going to sort of get tough, when you play your Green Bay and you play your Detroit Lions, that sort of team. But they are going to be top 5 for mine. In the 4th seed for the NFC, stop doubting this team. I've been telling you for weeks. I do have the Washington Commanders. Their rookie, Jaden Daniels, is killing it at quarterback right now. This team is looking really, really good, really dangerous, getting a lot of things right. Still a long way to go in the season, and they absolutely could drop off, fall off, have an awful season like we have seen the Commanders do before. But this season, something feels different. They look dangerous, and they're going to finish in the 4th seed with an amazing 10-6 record. And I think they're going to go 4-2 in the division. I think they are going to clean up 2 losses overall, but a really good record for the Commanders fans. They're going to be stoked come these NFL playoffs. Now, in the third seed is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they had a poor start to the year, but they were looking okay. Now they're going to start to get their injured players back, and they are looking better in offense as well, which is how we know this team to play. I've got them with an 11-6 record and 4-2 against the division. Much easier division there than a lot of teams as well for the Niners. I think they're going to be really, really good, but I think they're going to be in the 3 seed come the end of the season. So in the 2 seed, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This team has really surprised me, but their offense is scary good. Their defense is getting better. They're conceding less points as games go on. Really like what I've seen from this team. They have lots of experience within their team as well. And I thought this team was going to drop off, but they're doing the opposite. They are looking great. Baker's done a great job in big shoes to fill of obviously Tom Brady. And I think they'll be second. And I think they'll go 5-1 like Atlanta against their division. It'll be more a battle between Atlanta and Tampa to see who wins that division. But I think Tampa wins it. And I've got Tampa winning it by 3 games. So yeah, Tampa Bay Buccaneers for mine. 12-5 record. A really good season coming up. And in the 1 seed is the Detroit Lions. I love what I've seen from this team. They are some Lions on a mission. Their defense getting better as well. At the start of the year, it wasn't the greatest, but they are getting better. They do lose Aiden Hutchinson for their big game against the Vikings. It's going to be a massive game, big division game, but I have got the Lions winning that, and I have got them 5-1 against the division. I can't remember who I picked them losing to. I think there's going to be one game against the division that they are going to lose, but the Lions to finish in the number 1 seed in the NFC for mine. Go guys, some quick fire playoffs for you in the wild card, in the hunt, AFC battle between the Chargers and the Bills, 5 seed versus the 4 seed. The Chargers here in the playoffs once again up against the Buffalo Bills, who have been wanting to do this sort of mission, break this hoodoo. But I think the Bills beat the Chargers here. I've got the Buffalo Bills knocking out the Chargers. Then you've got a division rivalry between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, the 6 seed and the 3 seed. Both of these teams had a great year, but one team's had a better year, and the Baltimore Ravens eliminate the Pittsburgh Steelers. For mine, they're going to be too good for them. The 7 seed Bengals are going to get ripped apart by the Houston Texans. It's a bad matchup there, the 7 versus 2nd seed, and Houston going to be way too good advancing. The NFC battle, the Vikings started off undefeated, finishing the 5 seed against the Washington Commanders, finishing in the 4th seed. Bit more experience in the Vikings than the Commanders. But hey, rookie year, hey, I'm going the Commanders in an upset to beat and eliminate the Minnesota Vikings from 2024 NFL. Then you've got a massive matchup. It's a Green Bay Packers 6 seed taking on the San Francisco 49ers 3 seed. And Green Bay, if this was at home, you'd pick them. But I think the 49ers eliminate Green Bay. A phenomenal season from them. But I think being at San Francisco, the Niners win this. Then the Philadelphia Eagles will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A much better season from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers overall, the 7 versus the 2nd seed. I am going to go the upset there, though. I think Jalen Hurts and this team of Eagles get it done and advance. Week 2 in the divisional round picks based on my ladder. I would have the 3rd seed away, Baltimore Ravens taking on the Houston Texans in Houston. And I do have the Baltimore Ravens here advancing. I just think they're more of a complete team, and they've had that big game experience now. Even though they haven't won it, they know what to sort of do in those moments. In the AFC, the 4 seed Buffalo Bills taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, who will be rested as the previous week was a bye week, and I have the Kansas City Chiefs eliminating the Bills. In the regular season, the Bills can do all they want to the Chiefs. When it comes to the playoffs, we absolutely own them. So I think we end Buffalo's season there. In the NFC, 4 seed Washington taking on 3rd seed San Francisco would be a great game, but I do have the 49ers ending this miracle run of Washington Commanders season. The Niners advance, and then the Eagles will get ripped apart by the Detroit Lions, who will absolutely be amazing on offense, and the Eagles will have no answers for them. So, the conference championship. Who's going to the Super Bowl in 2024? I've got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead in a massive AFC battle. In the NFC, I've got the Niners taking on the Lions in Detroit. Now, my tip is actually going to be the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we've shown that we can beat the Baltimore Ravens at home and beat them well in the playoffs, in those sort of big game moments. But I think Baltimore is sort of cooking towards something this year. And I think Lamar is not going to be happy with how they exited last year. And a great season for the Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl. But I don't think we're going to three-peat. And I unfortunately, hope I'm wrong, I think the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. Now, are they going to take on last year's losers, the 49ers? Are they going to go on this run back to the Super Bowl? Or are the Detroit Lions going to make it for the first time in a long time? The Detroit Lions finishing in the 1 seed, San Fran in the 3, Detroit at home. And I think that home factor gets behind Detroit. Really big on Detroit this year. Lions versus Ravens, AFC, NFC teams in the Super Bowl. Who have I got winning the Super Bowl? In a tough matchup for mine, the defense of the Baltimore Ravens. Can it contain that offense of the Lions? I think the Lions are actually going to surprise people and win the Super Bowl. Massive out at the moment. They don't need any more injuries going their way. But if they can stay healthy, I've got Detroit as my champions for 2024 in the Super Bowl. I think it will be won this year in the NFC. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I will be putting up an NBA ladder predictions video as the week sort of goes on as well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your ladder predictions in the comments. Do you think my ladder is outrageous? Do you think it's accurate? Let me know, and I'll see you guys later.